Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. U.S. food stamp beneficiaries have exceeded 45 million for 4 years in a row and counting. Gas prices are soaring again, and we've seen cyber breaches of millions of federal employees, stock market glitches, airline interruptions, which makes me ask the question, how vulnerable is America's energy grid? Maury, you're an energy guy. You've been doing energy your whole life. That's what you spend your time doing. When people can hack into the federal employee database, when they can shut down an airline, when they can stop the stock market, and Anonymous, that group Anonymous, tweeted the night before basically teasing that they were going to do this to the stock market. I have to ask, how vulnerable is our energy and infrastructure?
Well, very vulnerable. We're talking about not only energy, we're talking about there's no security left in this country.
Data. Everything is hooked to the computer. The gas stations, the phone lines, your prescription drugs, your doctor's office, shopping, everything is hooked to a computer.
And nobody is secure anymore because everybody is an identifiable symbol that can be penetrated through hacking. And we're only hearing 1/10 of 1% as far as I'm concerned. You're hearing cases, you're getting into this whole IRS situation. I happen to have a professional tax advisor in Los Angeles, and he said somebody tried to hack into yours, and they're able to contact the IRS, and they were going to send them a refund, which you had coming, but they realized that your name was on it, so they checked with you, meaning my associates. And I said, no, I had to go to the police, I had to file a suit, I had to go through a lot of motion just to get rid of this thing. And I said, do you want us to go after them? I said, no, I'm not interested in making this a federal case, I just want to be protected.
And we're talking about the energy and infrastructure that has not been updated in this country in decades. We're talking about one attack could take out regions of the country.
Yes.
As far as electricity, water, gas, even eco-terrorism with firefighting. I mean, we've just had a big fire that we found out was arson in the San Bernardino Mountains recently.
Right.
And that was a big fire. It doesn't seem like we're taking very serious precautions to secure this country, is my point.
You know, it reminds me, I remember there was Otto von Bismarck, who was a great German foreign minister who really put together the German Reich that was taken over by Hitler. And he made a statement there, it's a special providence that looks out for drunkards, cheats, and the United States of America. What was his point? He was, in a sense, complimenting the United States for being in such a fabulously wonderful position of having oceans on each side, and having on the north, having Canada, which with 36 million people of British descent primarily, and even Mexico was weak, so they weren't any problem as far as being military invaders. The point was, the United States has been given anything that God can give to any country in the world, and for a long time took full advantage of it, opened their doors to people that came in. Actually, the bulk of them have made this country stronger. Now, I'm still a believer in bringing in good people into this country. Now you say, how can you define good against bad? I'm saying is when you have an organized method, a basic quota system for people from different parts of the world, and then they have to go through the motions. Like, of course.
But do we need anybody? Do we need more people at this point?
Yes, we do. I'll tell you why. Because otherwise,
no, we need the low-skilled, uneducated, diseased laborers. No. Or you're talking about the STEM people with the degrees in engineering and mechanics and.
Look, I will say the Asiatics have performed fabulously. People, even from places like Vietnam, people from Taiwan. There are 11, do you know that the most dynamic sector, economic growth sector in the world, there are 11 Southeast Asian countries in addition to India and China. Philippines, Indonesia, and so on and so forth. These people want to learn, they're educated, but a lot of the graduates are actually going back to their home country because they need it there. But my point is, if we didn't have the kind of immigration that we have, there are more people wanting to come to the United States than any other country in this world.
Of course. And no one wants to get out very much.
Nobody wants to, no, I mean, they leave with somebody's after them with a gun. But the point is, with Western, I call it the white Western Christian world. My father always used to use that term, and he was right. The dominant factors of the West, which controlled 80% of the world as late as...
Which the left has now declared a major war against?
Yes, but I'm saying is that that's how things have changed. This Western world, which controlled 80% of the world in 1914, and now is not even able to reproduce itself anymore because abortion is rife. People are told, don't have children, or if you do have them,
and the push against the family, the push for gay marriage, the push against...
It's all the same.
Yeah.
The thesis is all the same. Look at Japan. Japan today has an elderly population that's out of all proportion to the 120 million Japanese. And if they keep going the way they are now and reducing their progeny the way they're doing, then by the middle of the century, it'll be down to about 90 million people. Germany had 80 million people when I lived there, which goes back to the late 1930s. What do you think they have today? They still have 80 million, but that's because they brought in the Turks to work there because there were so many German soldiers killed during the Second War. They had to import guest workers. That's where that term came from. And they were the Turks. Well, they were the original Muslim head point that created a position for Islam in Germany. But Germany is still the most productive country in Europe, but even Germany is losing its population. England is losing its population. And I'm talking about the historical, traditional, white, Western Christian population. Now, people will say, well, how can you, isn't that a racist statement? It's a statement of fact. It's a fact. It's a historical fact. And it's also a
fact that the Muslim population is reproducing at 8 to 1 as the West.
Well, you know, what it basically boils down to is the fact that you've got to identify who's doing what and why are they doing it.
What do you mean by that?
What I mean by that is Islam is a religion of death. If you die in the cause of Islam, you will go to heaven and there will be anywhere from 60 to 70 virgins waiting for you.
My only question is, what if those virgins happen to be male?
I don't think it makes much difference anymore.
Okay, we only have a minute left. 45 million Americans are on food stamps and have been for the last 48 months plus. How long can a country sustain itself when 1/3 of the country is not working and 1/2 of that is on major beneficiaries and the country is in deficits and debt mode all the time?
Don't you recall Romney's statement when he said, how am I going to be able to win when at that time that maybe 47% are not going to vote for somebody who will take away what they're getting for nothing?
So how long can the country survive? How long can a nation support this and actually be able to provide for this?
You see, I'm not a seer. I don't look in the future, but if it keeps going the way it has, I think it's going downhill even further.
And we're talking about $100 billion, $200 billion when you're talking about some of the European countries that are having trouble. We spend that in a month and a half and don't even think about it.
You know, well, you talk like the Grecian situation. They're bankrupt. They can make all kind of short-term deals, and it's not good for the Eurozone to lose them because.
And so is America. We just have the ability to print money, and we haven't admitted it yet. But we need to take a quick break. If you would like to email us with comments or catch a segment that you missed, just go to theworldreport.org. You can also follow Maury on Twitter at @mbeshlaw.